dynamic creative. This is Facebook ads secret weapon. We call it the DCT. So let's get deep and dirty, because honestly, this is the most powerful tool in the Facebook ads toolbox, but it's also one of the most misunderstood and poorly utilized tools that sadly a lot of advertisers have chosen to shame, and that's a severe liability to their upside. So let's break this thing down. Let's get deep. Let's get dirty. Let's fix this. And honestly, if you find this to be tremendously valuable, please share it with somebody else. That being said, let's dive in. Now, before we get started, I just want to reiterate, dynamic creatives, unfortunately, have become one of the most divisive pieces of technology that an overwhelming number of otherwise elite marketers have categorically rejected using. And I know some extremely talented, creative first, good thinkers that will die on the hill of not using dynamic creative. So what we're about to dive into is why not using it might very well be one of the biggest mistakes that you're using right now, and one of the biggest limitations to even those experts' careers' future. Let's get to it. Now, first, let's start off with my favorite three. Three objective facts, empirical data, inarguable points. You can disagree if you want to, but you're objectively wrong. According to the product and engineering team, the literal designers of the software would disagree with you. Number one, Facebook is a machine learning platform with billions of data points for every user. I think we can agree on that. Number two, Facebook prioritizes the end user experience above all else. That's their business model. I think we can also maybe agree on that too. And number three, the scientific method requires testing to a statistical significance. If we can accept those three things, we're going to be best friends by the end of this. Now, DCTs, or dynamic creative tests, are the cheapest, easiest, and most effective ways to combine these three facts into your meta strategy. DCTs produce high confidence assets. They're actually a high confidence asset development machine that you'll be able to leverage with a large investment to deliver very specific business objectives. We need to have this stuff in mind when we go in, but remember, there is no better way of using data in a machine learning platform that creates dynamic user experiences than letting the machine do that thinking for you, because ultimately our number one objective is to be algorithmically aligned. And that's not a limitation, it's an opportunity. So we're going to get started with the 3-2-2 method. This is setting up dynamic creatives to win. I've taught this for years, and it has helped people drive hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue across 6 continents. Nobody in Antarctica yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And it does so with higher confidence and less work, with better quality results that are more stable and scalable. So the biggest issue with people doing dynamic creatives is they put in far too many options. Far too often, people are misusing dynamic creatives. Remember, every permutation of every available element creates its own post ID as a potential output of that dynamic creative. I know we're getting super sciencey, but trust me on this. If you have 10 creatives with 5 headlines and 5 primary texts, that's 250 post IDs. It is almost impossible. I'm not going to say it's impossible because I don't know everybody, but I will say this. I've had budgets of 30 to 50, 100, $1 million a day. 30, 50, 100,000 a day, up to $1 million. I haven't had the money to test 250 possible permutations to statistical significance. Just haven't been able to do it. Now, the problem here is you need to have statistical significance against every single possible permutation in order to make a clear decision. But when we're setting up dynamic creatives, We need to keep that in mind. So we're going to limit our overall number of possible permutations to less than 20. So here's the structure. All right, here's the $1 million idea, pulling back the curtain on something that, again, we've been teaching for years and still seems to be a wildly disruptive concept that even some of the best people in the world were dying on the hill of effectively being on the wrong side of history, fighting it. 3 creatives, 2 headlines, 2 primary text. That'll produce 12 permutations. In this setup called the 3-2-2 method, we are able to, with extreme confidence and statistical significance, make binary decisions very quickly so that we can determine success and failure within a test in a systematic, easily repeatable way, which means we never have to worry about our own human judgment and human error getting in the way of the success that honestly the machine is doing and producing for us. The secret sauce of dynamic creative is that it allows Facebook to deliver the best user experience to everyone in a dynamic fashion. Remember, every ad is a post ID. Actually, every organic post is too. Every piece of content you put up is ultimately just another web page on Facebook's website. Dynamic creative is actually a dynamic web page with multiple options that adapts and changes to give the end user the best possible experience. So you become more algorithmically aligned with Facebook, improving your estimated action rate. Now, Facebook will favor advertisers who prioritize the end user experience by creating content that they want to see. This will not only get you lower CPMs, but you'll also get preferential treatment in the auction by getting placement above other advertisers who will gladly pay more money to get to the best overall impression. Our job is simple. We are trying to make sure that the content that users want to see also delivers good business results. This is where we have symbiotic goals. And this is where Facebook is massively successful in being able to deliver consistent results for people and easily scale their accounts. When you're not using dynamic creative, you have to guess at this. And the honest truth is, no matter how good you are, your guesswork will never beat the scientific method. It's just not possible. And instead of fighting it, you could embrace it and put your best knowledge and guesswork into available choices and come up with multiple options. You could even be better by using the tool instead of afraid of it. The biggest pain in dynamic creatives, by the way, is most advertisers aren't able to see what ad brought the best results. We're going to debunk all of that right now. Now, the problem that advertisers had about not being able to see what ad brought the best results is because you've been taught to favor the wrong metrics. You've been taught to value the wrong things. And honestly, you probably haven't been taught how to extract a post ID from a dynamic creative. That's been around for years. I know I've been blue in the face talking about this since 2019. Also, a lot of really stubborn designers haven't embraced the opportunity that comes with dynamic ads, and they only see it as a threat or as cheating. You might have an idea of this copy is supposed to go with that copy and that creative, and that's the best possible thing. And if you're not right, you're dead wrong. Instead, you could say, these are the best possible choices for everything I'm trying to do. And I'm gonna let Facebook determine what end users ultimately want to see. Because now I don't have to be right about everything. Instead, I can scale my expertise with dynamic creatives. When making single ads, you are guessing what people want to see. Now, that might be an incredibly informed guess, but at the end of the day, it's still a guess. At the end of the day, your best effort, maybe you're an A+. You be an A+, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, for millions of people every single time. Is that really a scalable solution? The honest answer to that is no. That's completely impossible. When you're testing a lot of ads in an ad set too, and you make a lot of single posts, the winning ad, is it the one that got the most spend? Is it the one that had the most efficiency? Is it the one that people actually wanted to see? Is it the one that's actually going to work when you put it into your scaling campaign and all that other stuff? You have no idea. You just know that in this limited situation with no ability to actually optimize towards what Facebook users want to see, what got lucky? When you prioritize luck and ego and your pride over business results, you're going to have a bad time. So what metrics actually matter? Well, the only thing that matters is spend and CPA and consistency of performance. I get asked this question a lot, so let me break this down a bit for you. The DCT, if it's performing well, then the elements that earned the most spend, because spend is a meritocracy, tended to have the highest contribution to the net end result of that test. Basically, if some creative got 80% of the spend and you're happy with the outcome, odds are that creative has a lot to do with why that outcome was good. We call this trend indexing. And when you limit the amount of choices and you have high confidence in the data, it becomes extremely simple trend indexing. How do we know what ad did all the work? What's the winner? Well, there are two easy ways to get the post ID of any ad created by a DCT. Let's start off with the best option. And this is when you hit preview and you see Facebook post with comments when you're looking at the dynamic creative test. This will show you all of the ads because it's going to show you the actual web page, the dynamic web page. And it's going to index all of the available options as a catalog form to show you all the permutations that have statistical significance. And it's going to order them ranked by merit based on Facebook's own determined estimated action rate. Estimated action rate, or EAR, is the most important element of any ad because it tells you ultimately what people want to see and what they're going to most positively engage with. This means what is actually going to help you in the algorithm get sustainable, projectable, and scalable results while allowing the ad to do all of the targeting for you and deliver very specific business objectives. When you focus on estimated action rate, you can get rid of bidding models. You can get rid of targeting audiences, and you can scale with efficiency that will allow you to deal with cash flow and ultimately determine what business objectives you're trying to solve instead of just trying to keep a certain ROAS up above a certain number, which is complete nonsense and not at all how you're supposed to manage Facebook, because ROAS is a lie to begin with. Now, there's another way. If you want to get the post ID of any ad shown in this preview, I want to cover this real quick. You click on that post timestamp, and you'll notice the string of characters in the URL change. Everything after the last little slash, that's your post ID. Use that, copy and paste it when you're making a new ad into the use existing post box. Now, the second option, which I'm going to tell you because I want you to know, but I'm also going to caveat with there's absolutely no reason you need to do this. If instead you want to put your pride and ego above things and not use statistical significance, but kind of throw caution to the wind and try to get lucky and rich by playing the lottery, you can go to the top left of your ads manager. There's three little lines. It's called the hamburger button. You scroll down to the page posts section. Click on where it says ad posts. From there, a window will pop up and it'll show you the post ID of every single ad that you've run, sorted by the date and time that it went live. Go back to when you launched the DCT and boom, you're going to see every single permutation. Grab the post ID and use it. If you want to. I recommend you don't. But yeah, dynamic creatives. If you're not using it, you're going to get left behind.